This is Jay Muthukamatchi. I welcome you to the Delaware Tamil News. I'm here with Representative Paul Baumbach. He is a Delaware representative. Today we are going to talk about the some of us are in H1 or visa status. We have our kids going to the college these days, and some of you are paying out-of-state fee, which is 2 to 3 times the in-state fee, which is putting a lot of financial burden on such families. So we're going to talk about some good news that Representative Baumbach has for us. I'm going to turn it over to Representative Baumbach, and he's going to explain what he has done. This all started some 3 years ago in a Diwali celebration get together. So he's going to talk about that, and we'll go from there.
Great. Jay, thank you very much. And indeed, as Jay pointed out, I was with many of my legislative colleagues at a Diwali celebration, and got to the point where some people who had come were given the opportunity to ask some questions of us. And one father came up and said, well, his child was going to the University of Delaware and had to pay much higher fee than what his next door neighbor did. And it was because his son was the son of somebody who was here on an H-1B visa, as opposed to being here as a permanent resident, as a U.S. citizen. And yet, importantly, University of Delaware is like two other colleges in our state. It receives a lot of state support, and that state support comes from taxpayers, including the gentleman who spoke to me. And that just didn't seem very fair, because these families who are often in Delaware for years and years and years, and their children go to Delaware schools and they pay taxes for so many years, are treated differently than, again, the next door neighbor family. So what I did is I reached out to the three colleges that receive significant state support, to Del Tech, to Delaware State University, and the University of Delaware, to find out what their policies were for the tuition they charge to students of families where the parents are here on the H-1B visas. And what I found is that it was not uniform, and it also was not easy to find. So what we found is that largely Delaware State University and Del Tech Community College did offer in-state tuition as long as certain criteria were there. You'd been here for a few years, the child had been at a Delaware high school, graduated 3+ years in the local school, lived here concurrently, prepared state resident tax returns, and then you would get the in-state tuition, as opposed to having to pay 2 to 3 times as much. University of Delaware, where the out-of-state is $20,000 a year more than the in-state rate, was not as clear in their policy, and it seemed to be more of a, well, you can apply and maybe we'll make an exception for you, but the default was you're going to pay out-of-state.
Yeah.
And that's a big dollar difference. So I kept asking, but it's not one where we don't rule the University of Delaware. The University of Delaware trustees do. They set their own policies. The administration does that. So I could continue to raise it and say, do you really want to be the outlier? Do you want to be different than these other schools that receive millions of dollars a year from the state government? Because we as legislators, we care about our residents, and if our residents are paying into the pot and the pot is paying these schools, we'd like the schools to treat people equally.
Correct.
And persistence paid off, but I will say the University of Delaware on its own said, well, actually what happened is I got an email from a friend of yours, I don't know, a month ago, saying my child is enrolled, and it seems like, why are we being charged this high rate? So I reached out to my contact and I said, can you look into this? And they looked into it, and they were going through the process, and it got a quick green light as being able to get in-state rates. So I reached out to my contact and said, why was that so easy? He said, well, the policies here is actually clearer, and it's that the requirement, in addition to all the normal stuff, is even if you're here as a child of parents on visas, as long as you have applied for permanent residency or citizenship. It's not that it's complete, because as you pointed out on social media, that can take a decade or so. But as long as you've made the application and you're in process for requesting permanent residency or citizenship, and you've met the other residency requirements, and you graduated high school and things like that, then you can qualify for the in-state tuition at the University of Delaware, which is a tremendous
Yeah.
accomplishment. I won't say accomplishment, it's a great clarification,
Yeah.
and it is so meaningful for families here in Delaware of who are here, where the parents are here on the visas.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't at that Diwali celebration,
This would not
I wouldn't have known about the issue,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone into it.
Yeah.
I should say, the district I serve includes half of the University of Delaware.
Right.
So that's one reason why I sort of,
Yeah.
took the lead on this, and it was important to try to get this right. So using carrots and using appeals to the University of Delaware administration was successful in getting this, and I'm so excited. A lot of legislation you'd like to, things that legislators do, a lot of that stuff happens fast. Sometimes the more fulfilling stuff takes years. This unfortunately took a few years,
Yeah.
but I think we really got to a good place.
We really got a good place. As he was pointing out, a non-resident or out-of-state person who right now that's how we are considered, are the people in the H-1B visas. You may be paying $25,000 to $30,000 per year more than the in-state fee. So if you compound that for 4 years, you're looking at about 100 to 120,000 to, depending on what course, it's going to be that much, right? That much money now, because of the effort he did, we are going to save per family. So that's going to ease so much financial burden. Some of the stories that I heard, when one of the members of the family goes to the school, they are not able to take care of the other payment and the other children.
Right.
They have to compromise on those things. Now that's going to ease up. One more thing we are going to do, if you go into when you watch this video, go to the comment section. On the very first or few comments, Representative Baumbach is going to post the instruction. That was the biggest problem that we all had, which Paul pointed out earlier. We didn't know what the process is. Now we know what the process is. It's not only for University of Delaware, it's also for the other universities in state of Delaware. He is going to post that as a comment. In the comment, if you go through, it'll tell you what you need to do to get the in-state fee. Okay, so please remember to check the comments. Once this video goes up, we'll be posting that in the comment section.
And let me just add one quick thing that I think we talked about is you're hoping that what we're doing here in Delaware is done across the country.
Yes.
So we'd like to see the example,
Yeah.
and I know that Delaware's not the first state to do
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
but we also aren't the last. So
Yeah.
there's other states that we'd like to encourage
Yeah.
them to also treat all of their in-state residents as
Yeah.
in-state residents,
Yeah.
whether they're here with H-1B visas or not.
Right, exactly. That's a very good point. So if you are watching it and if you live other state than Delaware, if your state doesn't have this kind of setup, please talk to your local representatives. Tell them what the issue is, and definitely you will find some good representatives like Paul. They will listen to you, and then if you explain what it is, they will try to work through their legislative way, or they'll go to the district or something to make it happen for you. So follow that approach. That's how we did it here. And so thank you, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Indeed, it's my pleasure. I'm very happy to be part of this.
Thank you.
Delaware Tamil viewers, yes, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'm very happy that you've learned about this and that we have some very good news to share.
Yeah. Thank you.